Hello there and welcome to the 10 Years in Marketing podcast. This is going to really be a brain dump of ideas and things that I have learned over the last 10 years in marketing. So I actually started a podcast back in 2016. So it was a long time ago. I started that podcast and I launched it, had a few interviews lined up, had all the intro and everything done, had a voiceover done. I think I rolled out 3 episodes in that podcast and it was good. It was fun, got it going. I just didn't carry it on. I didn't feel there was nothing really going on with it at the time. And, if I'd launched it, if I'd carried on running that podcast, it'd probably be quite big right now. But anyway, life gets in the way, things get busy. At that time in my life, membership sites were big, they were taking off. That's the kind of thing that we were getting involved with. So that was good and fun. But the podcast itself, this one I want to do now is really just teaching stuff that I know, things that I test, things that I do. We have a few businesses in different niches, and really just share what I'm working on, through the week and month. Or if I learn something new, I get to test quite a few things. I work with Optimize Press mainly, and that's so important to see how the marketing world is changing. And I get to see a lot of sites, get to test a lot of things, get to research a lot of things in marketing. So it's brilliant, really. Yeah, so this podcast is going to be me brain dumping some ideas and things that I have, ideas that I have that maybe I could share, ideas that different angles that I could probably put on what you do in your own business. But I want to keep them all very short, bite-sized length of podcast, around the 10-minute mark. Because I think you don't probably want to be listening to another 2-hour long podcast. Some of them out there are great. But I want to do mine short and sweet. I just want to keep them short enough that people can take it and digest the information and maybe have something to go away with and then come back to another episode. So I'm going to try and keep them all around that 10-minute mark. But that's really the plan. Yeah. So, this is the first episode, really just to tell you what it's about, how it's going to work. I'm just going to share things that I'm doing, like even how I set up and run this podcast, all that kind of stuff. Membership sites, courses. When membership sites were taking off back in 2016, even before that, the sort of course industry wasn't even out as much. It was membership sites, although it was still kind of courses, online courses. They were online membership sites. And what we used to do is create DVDs. So I originally learned, creating an online course or creating a course as such, but putting it onto DVD and onto CD-ROMs. And then we would package those CD-ROMs using services like Kunaki, which are still around today, and you would upload your DVD file or CD-ROM file to Kunaki, and then from there you'd get listed onto Amazon. So that's the kind of thing that I used to do when membership sites were running as well. So I used to create a couple of my own training DVDs or CDs we had. Initially it was DVDs, so it was like a DVD. You'd go put it in the DVD player, use the menu on the controller to navigate through and watch the training DVD, even though the DVD itself was like a screen recording, like a recording of a tutorial that you'd made. And then what happened, that sort of then became CDs. It made it easier for people to produce. We could produce CD-ROMs much simpler. Making a DVD menu and testing it was quite a lot of work. But then we went down the CD-ROM route, and the CD-ROMs, you just put them in a computer and the menu loads up. Now, I learned all this kind of stuff from a chap called Bill Myers. That's bmyers.com. I learned everything I know about marketing through his membership site at the time, and he run a software company called MemberGate, and I ended up working with MemberGate. That was purchased by another man called Tim Kerber, who became a close friend, and I worked for him. I worked for MemberGate, done all the support and things for them. That was a brilliant insight into seeing what was going on in the world of marketing, and we got to see behind some huge sites that are run by some of the biggest marketers then and even now, the people who had those sites. So we got to see a lot, got to learn a lot, got to work alongside Tim, which was great. So that was kind of how things were evolving for me, and the podcast just didn't have time to do it and run it. But now everything's changed quite a lot. People say if you're going to run a podcast, you need to do this, this, and this, and then Anchor rolls out. Anchor.fm is a new podcasting platform which rolled out, and they've really simplified the whole podcast process. They've made it free hosting, but you can get the app on your phone and record and start a podcast. And it's actually so easy to reach people through podcasting. And it's a very good medium because it doesn't require you lots of video, camera content. You haven't got to sit and write for hours. I've written articles for Optimized Press that have taken me 2-3 days to put together. Some of them like 3,000-4,000 words long, and they're short in considerable terms for some of the biggest and best content out there. So I know what it's like to produce content on different platforms and mediums. I publish a video on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to go down the route of doing one every week. And I've had a little break, a holiday break, which has sort of killed that process, but I need to get back on that and just to try and keep, putting out different forms of content. So I've been there, I've tried a lot of the content delivery ways that you can promote, your business. And this is why podcasting is actually so easy, because I can talk for 10 minutes about something I've learned, tested, and I can then use that and get it on my blog and hopefully reach other people who are listening to podcasts about marketing. So that's really where this is going. There'll be lots of stuff, things that I work with, clients I work with. I do have a couple of clients, just stuff that I test, things that I work and look at their sites. I have some friends that have fairly big businesses, and I often get asked to help out with the odd little thing. Some of them have, either online e-commerce sites. Some of them just have static kind of websites, but they want help with marketing. And my wife runs a business in a clothing company with her business partner. They use Shopify. So we get to see quite a lot of stuff in the e-commerce side and in the email marketing side and the list building and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I want to be sharing with everyone through my own podcast. So that's really it. That's the first episode in this series. And I'm going to be back soon in your ears with some more content and maybe teach you something that you haven't yet tried, or even just give you an idea of something you can try yourself. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. You can subscribe over on iTunes, drop me a review if you like. And also if you have any questions or things you would like answered, or something that I talk about in a podcast and you have a question about that, please feel free to get in touch with me via my website. It's davidfrosdick.com. You can also get access to all of these episodes of the podcast over there as well. It'll be on davidfrosdick.com/podcast. So feel free, jump over there. You can see or listen back to some of the podcasts that I've got, or listen ahead even to some of the podcasts that are coming out. So make sure you subscribe. So that's it for now. I'll be back in your ears with another episode very soon.